Welcome into Lounge, presented by DraftKings. I'm Ryan Mink here with Garrett Downing, and we are thrilled to sit down once again with Tyler Huntley, fresh off his contract with the Ravens. Signed a new 2-year deal with the Ravens to stay here in Baltimore. Congratulations.
Sir, appreciate you.
We're thrilled to have you, and we were joking around that, man, you can't go anywhere else. The Ravens are home for you. Just what's the feeling getting this deal done?
Like you said, it's home, family, and then just being able to grind with the dudes that, you put the work in with every day and then go out there and shine, and it feels just amazing.
Yeah.
So for you to get this contract, your story to me just stands out. Like, you come in here as an undrafted guy, you make a name for yourself, you leave, you come back. How do you put all of that into perspective a little bit, the journey that you've been on?
Just how you put it, the journey, that's the journey that I've been on, and just using every year and every day just to just build and grow from there, and just using what I go through as experience and learning lessons, and make it better at the end.
Did you have any doubt when free agency? Because I felt like, but you never know. To be honest, in free agency, you could never necessarily guarantee anything. But I felt like when the season ended, like when you look at the free agency list, I'm like, Snoop's coming back. It's a guarantee, lifetime contract. It's going to happen.
No, definitely.
But how did you look at the free agency process?
Man, it was just more of just seeing when we was gonna get it done. We were just trying to just make sure everybody is on the same page, and it's a lot of guys that was out there still in free agency that the Ravens definitely needed to lock down, and just working through all those things, and it's all bittersweet.
But you were the first one. You were the first deal that got done. At the top of the priority list.
Get it out the way.
Just what's it feel like for you? I mean, after you play your rookie deal here,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're a free agent, you went to Cleveland and then Miami and then back to Cleveland and then back to here, like now to kind of for the Ravens to say, you know what? Yeah, like we're going to give him that 2-year deal and keep him here a little longer term. Like what's the feeling of getting that deal after you kind of bounced around a little bit?
Just, the stability of just being in a place where you're familiar with, and just being stable, being able to just know that this is where I'm going, this is the time that I'm going to be here, and this is what I need to get done.
Well, you're a winner. I mean, 2 games last year, 2 big wins, beat the Bears, who were division champs, going to Lambeau, winning Lambeau. Just how much do you feel like you've improved your game as a quarterback over the recent years?
Just more of I improved more mentally, just not being able to just try to guess what situation I'm going to be in, just be more prepared for the situation that I'm going to be put in, just understanding that the situation that we are in when I go in, and just being able to work through that. That's what's been key.
So, Snoop, something that to Ryan's point about last year, like you showed last year, like you can start in this league, you can win in this league, and you did it against, those were the two real marquee wins that you had for this team last year. But then you get into this process, and some guys say, I just want to go out there and compete for a chance to start. And I've said before, like, to me, you're one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. That's the way I felt for a long time, and I feel that way. But for you, why was it important for you to say, you know what, I want to stay here. I want to continue to work with Lamar, work with this offense, and stay here rather than go and chase the opportunity to potentially go start elsewhere?
Because of, just how close we've been over the years, that's we just know we're gonna be competing for that long run in the end of the year, and that's key. Like I just know we're gonna be contending, and that helped me stay. And then just being there with my brothers, everybody, that played a part. And then just that aspect of being out there, going out there. I was out there last year around the same time. The situation was a little different, but I felt how I felt to be away for a second. So it get a little gray. So you just gotta work through everything, and then it just feel better to be here this time of the year. And yes,
How big of a part was Lamar in this, and did you two have any conversations kind of leading up to free agency?
No, the thing is, you know, L called me a couple times, and I called him. You know, he just kept asking like, "Oh, when you signing?" or you know, stuff like that. Like, you ain't going nowhere. And then, you know, we just, you know, joking and stuff. But it was just fun that, you know, once we got it done, I called him. One of the first people I called and told him, you know, and everybody just happy, man. It just feel right.
Awesome.
Is the connection that you guys have, you've talked about it before, but is it special? I mean, you guys are Florida guys. You competed against each other when you were kids, and like now you're able to continue this thing as quarterbacks for the Ravens. Like, have you thought about the connection that you have and how special it is?
Man, definitely. I always say, that's if my mama pushed him out, we'll be brothers, like, you know, by blood. So, you know, that's my brother for real. Like, you know, we could always talk about anything, and you know, it ain't always got to be football. You know, he helped me get through a lot of things, you know, and just his words, you know. So it's amazing that you could just meet someone so genuine and at the level that he is at, and just being able to call on him whenever you need to. That's the special part right there.
I want to go back to last year. You signed with the Browns late in training camp, and you get a chance to play in the preseason. But, I mean, it was late in the process. It was middle of the training camp.
Like 12 quarterbacks.
And they had a bunch of quarterbacks. They had injuries. Like, it was kind of a crazy situation there. And then you get cut by them at the end of camp, and you end up back here. And Cooper Rush was the number 2 quarterback, you know, at the time. And you then ultimately, you just continue to prove yourself, like kind of counted out, and you continue to prove yourself. So I'm curious, like, take me to right before you signed with the Browns. Like, were you confident about getting another shot? Did you feel like, is this going to happen? Like, what are the things you're thinking about at that time, and then ultimately before you come here to the Ravens?
Man, you know, because I had so much time to sit down and you know, just work, like not be somewhere in OTAs. I was at home and just working out. So while I'm working out, you know, I actually took the time, man, to see where I was weaker at, you know, see where I was going wrong and stuff like that, you know. And I got the opportunity to just find myself and, you know, help myself grow to OTAs. I miss OTAs, but everybody, OTAs is OTAs, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, yeah, that's a chance for us to get better, but, you know, when it all matters is when the season start, and that's all I was thanking God for, is just to be where my feet was when the season start.
Yeah, well, let's fast forward to Green Bay. That win in Lambeau, wearing the cheese grater hats and all that stuff. What was that emotion like for you?
It was just a pour out of, you know, just working hard and just not knowing where your future is at, you know, just being where your feet is at, you know, just being able to just go out there and play football and be with one of the, you know, the top dudes in the National Football League, you know, being able to be side by side and competing with them, you know, it means even more that you go to a legendary place and get a win, and it's just joy.
Right, that's awesome. Well, congratulations with the smile, with the new contract, maybe more commercials in your future. We all love your commercials.
I appreciate it.
If you need anybody to give the birds and the bees talk, Snoop's your guy.
Got you,
okay, man of many talents. So
yes, sir.
Congrats, Snoop.
Man, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all.
You're listening to the Lounge Podcast. We're coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We want to mention our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Well, big thanks to Snoop. Congratulations to him on the new contract. So, as we've said, it's a busy week here. There's lots of moves that are happening over the course of this week. We're going to break it all down for you every single day on the podcast, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening. You can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll be back with you again soon.